There's also, we said there is some news today when it comes to vaccines. There's this year, 2 potential coronavirus vaccines have received fast-track designation from the Food and Drug Administration. If the ongoing studies are successful, the companies expect to manufacture up to 100 million doses of the vaccine by the end of the year and 1.2 billion doses by the end of 2021. Dr. Roy, we've been talking about vaccines here. Every time we get a positive development, that rare bit of good news. What does that mean to have 2 drugs getting fast-tracked by the FDA putting them on the fast track? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, Steve, this is almost unheard of, right? We've talked about this before. Vaccine development takes years, actually decades. And remember, the fastest we've ever safely delivered a vaccine into a human being was 4 to 5 years. So the fact that this may actually happen within 1 to 2 years is quite remarkable. And the studies, the articles show that they'll go into production soon, but that means it has to go through a late-stage clinical trials, and that's the rate-limiting step, Steve. That's what's going to take a long time, making sure that these vaccines are actually safe and effective. But this is where I got to be really realistic and make sure I don't give false hope to the viewers. So we don't really know how effective this vaccine is going to be, how long the immunity is going to last. There's just a lot of unknowns right now. We have to live with this new normal, Steve. That's what we have to do for now, if and when there is a vaccine.
There's also this news today. We're talking about Florida so much in this segment, but also Texas is another state where you've seen a lot of new cases and a lot of political leaders there trying to figure out how to deal with it. The mayor of Houston in Texas, Sylvester Turner, he tweeted this. He called for a 2-week shutdown. He said, at a minimum 2 weeks, and I've proposed this to the governor so we can help blunt COVID-19 progression. If we cannot have a shutdown, then at least step back to the state's phase 1. This will allow us to reset and reassess. Mayor Castor, I know you're talking about the mask ordinance where you are and being hopeful that the masking is going to be something that helps control this. I'm curious, if you get discouraging data, is the idea of a shutdown, is that something you think that could be on the table? Is that something people would be willing to accept?
Well, I don't know how much the public would be willing to accept that, but certainly on the table. I think that for us here in our area, really it was the opening of the bars that that set us back very, very quickly, literally overnight. And the majority of our cases, or the 25 to about 34, just spiked through the roof. And so we can't afford, we just got back up on our feet economically, and we can't afford to get knocked back down. But if we don't see substantial changes, then we're going to have to make those difficult decisions once again.
By the way, on the issue of compliance with the mask ordinance, do you have numbers on that? What do you think the compliance rate is? How many folks do you think are wearing the masks when they're out there?
Well, it would have to be anecdotal, frankly, the majority of individuals that I see. But I did hear a statistic today when asked, the majority of citizens, a vast majority, over 70%, said they wore a mask, at all times when they couldn't 6-foot distance. And then there were only, I believe, 9% that said they would not wear a mask. And so I think that the compliance is pretty high. It's those indoor locations where people are in very close proximity without a mask, bars, that really just set us so far back down here. But we'll take whatever steps necessary to keep our community safe.
All right, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor, Dr. Bernard Ashby, and Dr. Lippy Roy, thank you all for being with us. Appreciate that.